But if you ever feel like love is just out of reach.
I thought for today's walk that I would share one of my book reviews with you guys. I just finished Beth Is Dead by Katie Bernet. It is a YA mystery. It's actually a modern retelling of Little Women, and I was immediately intrigued. This is a recent release. I did the audiobook on it because that was the first thing that came available from my library. And y'all, you guys, it's kind of chilly. I know you guys are way, way colder in every other state but Florida, but we lost our winter skin. All right. So this is chilly for us. Okay. So if I get a little short of breath, just forgive me. All right. Forgive me being pathetic.
If you ever feel lost and need time to rest, come over, darling, put your head on.
If you're new here or you are a longtime friend, welcome back. This is Seaside Reads with Arlene, and I'm so glad you're spending some time with me today. Okay, I'm walking much slower than I usually do because I tweaked my back again. Last weekend, I want to say it was like last Friday or whatever. I've kind of been on back rest to make sure I don't do severe damage because I do have some pretty bad damage from a car accident. But so, yes, this is going to be a little slow pace walk here. All right, so Beth Is Dead. I was immediately attracted to this when I think I saw the publisher share this read that was coming out. One of the reasons was because I have very little recollection of Little Women. I know that is like what? And I had shared about that because I recently bought my own copy because you guys know how I am. I like to borrow a lot from the library. And then what I like to do is just purchase things that I really need in my permanent like shelf of glories. Have plans, and now even more so after reading this, to reread Little Women because it's been, I don't know, it has to be over 20 years since I read it. But this jogged a lot of my memories. I was able to remember a lot more details just because of how closely the author chose to maintain the integrity of each sister, with obviously a reworking of the character's plot line and in a modern setting, obviously. So let me tell you a little bit about Beth Is Dead. Obviously, you know Beth is going to be dead in this book. I'm not going to share any major spoilers, and then I'm going to also be careful, if you haven't read Little Women, to not give too much away of the correlations there. I'll give you my notes on the YA part if you're considering this for your teens. As you guys know, I have teens as well. You get the familiarity, but it fast forward what these characters may have been like if they lived in our time. So after a New Year's Eve party, Beth is found dead in the woods. And the whole story spans into this modern day mystery where every sister is actually a suspect and some extended people in their life as well. So every person is a suspect, including each sister, which is a little bit wild to me. But that's what really grabbed my attention and why I really wanted to read this title. Because, you know, how clever is that? I have to say, some parts were predictable, but I wasn't mad at it either. Like, did I figure everything out way before? No, not that. The author did a clever job of how things were framed and how things were layered. Before we're put, ooh, kitty. Let's find the kitty. Now I'm speeding up. At this party, there is a fight with one of the sisters, and I'm not going to tell you who it is. It's also part of the beginning of this, so I'm not giving like any major spoilers or anything, but there is a fight that happens at this New Year's Eve party with Beth. One of her sisters leaves her alone at this party, and is basically the last time she was seen alive. But every member or person close to them had some kind of encounter in her last day, and there's a lot of part of the stories that we're not immediately told about, obviously, that we find out extra layers, which keeps it pretty fun and interesting to me. That's what I love about mysteries or thrillers, is constantly like getting another piece of the puzzle. So I think this book did that nicely and did that pretty well. So there's always these different layers and different surprises that you're like, oh, okay, here's another piece of the puzzle to put together. And then, you start guessing, okay, who done it, type of deal. It has these plot lines of coming of age as well, trying to find your place, character flawed, and overcoming these different things within themselves. Father is an author. Remember, Joe is an aspiring author as well, is an author. And he decides to write a book that becomes an instant bestseller and gains the family a lot of popularity, and not in a good way. Like, there was cancel culture happening. He got canceled. So in this book, the father writes the book Little Women, and people have a lot of problems with a male figure writing, first of all, Little Women, and thinking that he exploited his daughters for this book. At the beginning of the book, we learned that he decides to take off to protect his family or whatever, and he just goes off to camping or the woods or something. So no one's really heard from him. He hasn't answered anything. The book starts with this scene pretty much immediately. This is a very fast-paced book, which I appreciate. Sometimes I'm in the mood for slow. Appreciate a fast-paced book to just like keep like those little brain we learned about her death pretty early on in the first few pages. So, after this New Year's Eve party, the whole like shebang, and then there's flashbacks. Even though she's like unalived pretty early on, we get to still hear about Beth's perspective through flashbacks, and we get different pieces of the story through Beth's flashbacks in the perspective of not only her point of view, but each of the sisters as well. Mom is also a nurse in this setting. I wish I would have seen a little bit more of that, but I understand with the pacing of this book where that was not necessarily something to devote time to, but I would appreciate, because I'm on RN, no longer in the bedside. But so through the flashbacks, we learned a lot about each of the girls' story and how they arrived to that present moment, and also see their characters grow a little bit. Again, this was a pretty fast read. And I actually, like I said, I did it on audio. I do want to get a physical copy because I did enjoy it, and I love having modern retellings that I enjoy on my shelf. The last quarter of the book, I can pretty much tell who done it, but that didn't ruin the book for me. So I really appreciated how close the author stayed so carefully into like the root of each character in Little Women, but reimagined it in a really interesting and unique way. I'm gonna put you down. My arm is tired. I do not have a thingy. I'm holding this with my school mess little bookmark. This is, if I put it on my shirt, it's like the mic works like crap. And in this book, Jo also has a large social media following. So she's not only a writer, but she's like a content creator as well. We don't see a lot of like the influencer culture or anything like that. So I don't want you to like, I don't know about that, because, and some of you may enjoy that, but if that's a deterrent, don't be. We don't really see that. We just hear about her having a large social media following, which is one of the reasons why there's a motive on her end. I did feel, let's talk a little bit about the cons in my side. And again, it was still an enjoyable read. So if we're being nitpicky, I think some of the motives for some individuals was a little bit too far-fetched in my book. Like, really, is that truly a motive? But was it completely so unbelievable that I couldn't enjoy the story or get pulled out of it? No. I do feel like a couple of scenarios were a little far-fetched, but it's fiction, friends. Just enjoy the ride. So some things I was just like scratching my head. Now about the YA part. So I saw the rating for this, and I believe it was recommended for 12 and up. I would bump that up, maybe 14 and up. The only reason, and everybody, like, you do you, you do you, whatever you feel comfortable. I would say I feel comfortable passing this read on to my daughter and see if she's interested in picking this up. That's my oldest, my son. I'm not sure that this is his genre, but it's still something I feel comfortable with them reading. There is a couple of like closed door moments or references of like, something bad happened, but it's closed door. It's not explicit. I believe there's very mild profanity, if that's a thing that bugs you. Other than that, just know that there is reference to some sensual moments. There is a trigger warning for, how do I say this without giving a spoiler? There is a couple of trigger warnings. I don't want to ruin it for anyone on this video, but it's not like explicit or anything like that. So if you're interested in that because you want to pass this on or you have certain concerns, just message me. I'll let you know what those are. That was Beth Is Dead, and it's out now. You can see it in my captions down below. I was so surprised that I got the hold so quickly. So I was really excited about that, but I think I'm going to buy a copy. So now what I want to do is go back and read Little Women. And because this jogs my memory so much, I'm like, oh yeah, I really do enjoy this read. I've actually at the point that I'm recording this, I have finished 12 books this month. I'm disassociating like the best of them. But yeah, let me know if you love if you dig modern retellings, if that's your vibe. I would love to hear about it. Let me know, friends. For walking with me. I am so short of breath because I've been holding this thing up and this up, and my arm hurts and it's cold. All right, I hope you guys stay warm wherever you are and stay safe, my friends. I'll see you guys next time. Make sure you give your library and indie shop some love.
I hope that you know you're not on your own. All love never ends.